When you're telling a story, you kind of need to have some exposition. You need to have some setting up of the pieces so that things can start falling into place. That's what this episode felt like. So let's talk about Ahsoka episode 6, called Far, Far Away. Now, as I always say, this isn't going to be a beat for beat, recap of the entire episode. There are channels out there that do a much better job at doing that. What I'm going to be doing is talking about some of the things that I took away from the episode and what they mean and stuff like that. So yeah, if you haven't seen the episode, there will be some spoilers. There will be some things that I will talk about that you might want to check out for yourself. But otherwise, let's just get into it. The thing that really surprises me, and I know this is sort of an overall kind of statement, but it's interesting how much David Tennant is actually bringing to the table here. I mean, I thought Hu Yang was an interesting character, but he was always a very, very background character and didn't do a whole lot, didn't have a whole lot of lines. In this series, he's done a lot, and it's been kind of interesting to see that, and yeah, or I guess hear that in David Tennant's case. But yeah, I think he brings a lot to this character. So it's kind of cool to see. So we actually find ourselves on the planet of Peridea, which is where the Dathomiri are basically here, and I'll be honest with you, I just did not think that we'd ever get a live action Night Sister sort of story. So seeing them in live action is really kind of cool. And it was actually interesting, when they come up to the planet and there's all the bodies of the Purgil, because they according to Balin, that they came here to die. I mean, it's really interesting, this whole thing, and that the Dathomiri were the ones that first rode the Purgil. I mean, this is some really interesting stuff lore-wise. I have to say, though, if you haven't been watching Clone Wars or Rebels, and if you're not caught up with all of that lore, you've got to be lost. You've just got to be lost here in the sauce here, because there's just so much being thrown at you here. What is going on? This doesn't feel like Star Wars, but this is something that I dealt with, when I first saw them in Clone Wars and Rebels, that, I've gotten over that. I've gotten over that whole thing and accepted them into the world of Star Wars. So yeah, I mean, or I guess you could say, if you hadn't played Jedi Survivor, because the Dathomiri, I should say, are there too. But I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that are just completely confused right now. But yes, we finally get to see Thrawn in live action. It's really cool. I mean, and Lars Mikkelsen continues his work from Rebels. He voiced Thrawn in Rebels, so if you've watched that, it's very comfortable. It's comfortable to hear that voice again, and to see him playing the part is really cool. And I will say, design-wise, I feel like he should be a little bit more blue. Like, I don't know. I just pictured him to be more blue. He seems like a light shade of blue. But again, I completely just accepted him as Thrawn, so I had no problems with that. Even though, like, design-wise, I feel like he should be, just a skosh more blue. Maybe? I don't know. I find it really interesting, though, because, the stormtroopers, his remaining army that has been there for many, many years on Peridea, that they've basically turned to individualizing themselves and not just seeing themselves as, literal clones of each other, just regular soldiers wearing a uniform. I just think that's kind of cool. But I almost feel, this is just me thinking, but knowing who Thrawn is, it doesn't seem logical for him to have allowed them to individualize themselves, to set themselves apart from each other, because their job, logically, is in service of whatever Thrawn wants to do. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, if it plays out in any sort of interesting direction. But that's the first thing I thought when I was seeing that stuff is, wow, that's really interesting. Is that going to come back to bite him, but to bite him later? I don't know. Now, I didn't catch what the little rock guys are called. The Noti, they're speaking Noti, right? Noti? I don't know. Because the bandits are speaking that too. But yeah, I mean, there's a cool fight with Sabine and the bandits. Her little tracker gets destroyed, and she has to basically rely on her howler. Is that what they called him? The thing that she rides. That's just, I mean, looks sort of like a wolf, but with a smashed face, and it's ugly. It's just not an attractive thing, but it's kind of cool. There's some personality there, and we get to see a little light-hearted moments between them, the two of them, I guess. But yeah, we find these little rock guys, and or they're wearing, I guess, shells on their back. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing, and I was like, have we seen these before? I feel there's a there's a familiarity to them. I don't know what it is, but then they bring us to Ezra, and we get to see Ezra in the flesh for the first time, and so it's it's just been really interesting seeing this whole thing play out, and it's cool. It's cool stuff. To me, the standout of the episode are the scenes between Balin and whoever is on screen with him, or him just himself. It just makes you go, man. Yeah, Ray Stevenson, man. What a loss. Just so much charisma and so much. Like, I want to know more about his story. I want to know more about his character. Um, all these things about the way that he looks at, or the way, I guess, the way that he's come to look at the Jedi and what the Jedi stood for, and then their weaknesses, and then he taught Shin to be something more than what the Jedi were, and all this. It's really, really interesting stuff. Basically, anything Ray Stevenson said, I was just like, yes, tell me more. Yes. I feel like that was a little bit creepy, but you get what I'm saying. He's just awesome. He's just awesome. And especially, his scenes with Shin, and her asking him questions and kind of talking about their, what their plans are. I just really think that that's some interesting stuff. Now, of course, and we're talking about little plot threads here. Thrawn is made aware that Ahsoka is on her way. And he's basically said, yeah, we're going to, take out the Purgil with extreme prejudice, just take him out. And yeah, there's going to be, we're leading to a battle, of course. Now, knowing what I know about the future of what they're planning for Star Wars, yeah, I mean, we're going to get more series with Thrawn as basically the main big bad. He's going to be the focus for a bit. And it's all going to be culminating in that movie directed by Dave Filoni that's supposed to bring everything together. So yeah, I'm trying to steel myself for the end of this series that's going to just feel like a chapter is done. So yeah, I mean, it's setting up to be pretty interesting. I'm not like super blown away like I was last episode, but I really enjoyed a lot of the exposition that Ray Stevenson brought, sort of rounding out the story of I guess his role with the Jedi, and what he thought of them and stuff. I mean, I loved all that. So it's a weird episode. It's mostly exposition, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens next week. So what did you think about Ahsoka episode 6 called Far, Far Away? Like I said, it's mostly exposition, but I liked it. I liked it okay. Nothing like completely took me out of it. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the way it looked. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. So let's talk about it down in the comment section below. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.